Alright, guys, welcome back. We are watching my teen romantic comedy SNAFU, Oregairu, Season 1, Episode 6. Last time, we solved Taki's problem. Well, kinda. Did we solve it? Not really, right? It's still, frankly, it was kind of not resolved at all. It's still a problem, right? I don't know. Hopefully she will not take all the weight onto her own shoulders forever, though. Worse than that, Hachiman learned that Yui is the one whose dog he saved, and he now has it in his head that means their friendship is completely fake and doesn't count, and it's not good. I'm worried. I'm very worried about that. I wonder. I hope Yukino maybe can help, can do something. Seems like a job for the volunteer club, right? But the problem is that it involves two of the members of it. So I don't know. I'm worried. We'll see. I feel so bad just for everyone involved because for Hachiman it just really does come from this place of like insecurity and like he cares too much about the idea of what a friendship is, you know? But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know if that's going to be resolved in this episode or if this is going to be I don't know how it could be. I don't know how this problem, it feels like it's such a deep-seated thing for him, like this insecurity, right? But I guess we'll see. So we're watching episode 6. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Flowers. Oh, this is when it happens. Okay, okay. Right. Oh, or it's a week after it happened. I see. Oh, okay, okay. I thought this was a flashback to when he saved her dog, but no, 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 no. I hope you're not calling yourself that. It's not your fault. Oh god, not again. Oh no. That's the other thing I'm really worried about, is I don't want her to blame herself, because she did not do anything wrong, right? Not at all, right? I'm just trying to think, like, is there any way? I don't think so, right? Like, what should she have done? Been like, oh, you're the guy who saved my dog, so I love you? Like, I don't know, right? She might have thought that he did know, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But, like, I understand Hachiman's feelings, right? I really do. It's just such, like, a destructive, like, spiral, though, you know? It's like it... Hmm... Maybe Hiratsuka can do something. Maybe she will save the day. Who knows? Who knows? Does she... She knows Hachiman quite well, and like Yukino, right? Does she have like a relationship with Yui at all? Maybe. I assume so, right? But I wonder. I wonder. Okay. Oh, I'm scared. Okay. Oh god. Ah, it's shut up. Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Interesting. Freed from her guilt. Oh god. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean, right? Ah. It comes from like such an actually sad, like sympathetic place for him. Hmm. Right. Yeah. What's the difference, right? Ah, man. Right, of course. Will he tell her at all? I think. Right. I think you were certainly close enough for that. A battle. Exactly. That's the closest one, I'm sure. I suppose that's like such a sad way to put it. She's here. No, she's not. Damn it. What could be going on in here that she would need to knock for? I whoa. Okay, into a battle royale. Sure, sure. Just giving up on her. Yukino won't want to give up on her, obviously, right? Oh, God. I know. Hmm. Okay, okay. How about we get Yui back? How's that sound? Ooh. Do we know anyone? Do we know anyone who could that be other than Yui? Right? I don't know. I don't know. I guess Saika? I don't know. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder what she's actually like doing with this, right? It's hard for me to believe that she's truly just decided, oh, Yui's just done, right? Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That would be the easiest path. Hopefully. And like the one you want the most, right? What is that day? Oh, when is that? Soon? Very, very. Okay, okay. Interesting. All that she's done. Huh. Oh, God. Huh? Okay, sure. Oh. With his little sister. Of course, of course. Thank you, thank you. We all just split up immediately in opposite directions. Yeah, that would be more fun, wouldn't it? Hmm. Okay, okay. I see. What can Hachimon get her as like a birthday present, huh? I don't know. I wonder. Where'd she go? It's just so she just left. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, left them alone. Uh huh. Uh huh. Another 5 hours. Okay. Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you. What is that thing? God, I love her hair. She said she's gonna be gone for 5 hours. Yeah. Okay, okay. God, I'm worried about us running into Yui while we're here, but I don't know. That'd probably be a good thing. I extremely. He gives off the aura of being alone, even though he's here with Yukina. Right, yeah. You know Yui too. Sure. Not sure, but oh god. I guess maybe that's the key, right? Exactly, right. I mean, people are gonna think you're dating, but you know. That's a good one. Oh god. I guess. Hmm. Of course, naturally. Okay, okay. I'm sure. I'm sure. I exactly. Interesting. Interesting. God, Yukino and her reputation. I wanna I wanna talk about that. Oh, she is here. She is here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh god. Feel so bad for her. Oh, because she's totally blaming herself, right? Oh god, the dog's gone. Um, oh, it's gonna run into them. She's gonna see them like on a date. Oh god. Oh god. It's what is she doing? Interesting. I feel like that can't be entirely true though, right? She's just getting in her head about it, you know? Ooh, interesting. Pissed off at the idea of someone thinking they know someone when they don't. It looks cute, I guess. Sure, sure. Maybe, right? I mean, what are you doing right now other than saying what you think she'd like? No, that's actually that's important, right? Is he not doing the same thing, you know? She likes that one. That's for her. Oh, who is this? Oh, her sister. I see. In the last episode, there were all of those hints about that, huh? How do you know? How does she feel around her sister? She immediately seems like she's like guarded, right? Oh god. Oh no. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Has he been mentioned before? Oh god. Yeah, just today, I suppose. Oh god. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I don't think that hurts Hachiman, but I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. Quite. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide what I think. Oh god. I can't decide what I think about their relationship so far. I have sensitive ears. Right, right. I suppose. Hmm. Interesting. So Haruno seems so outgoing. She seems so, so different than Yukino. Yeah, like her posture, right? Her body language. Interesting. Does she have like an inferiority complex about it? Like hmm. Ooh, that facade, huh? But he would view it as a facade, of course, right? Does that mean it really is a facade? Interesting. He's just immediately saying she has to be fake because she's like the ideal, right? But she doesn't have to be, right? Oh god, here comes the dog. And like it's really running around, huh? Oh god, is she scared of dogs? Oh, I bet it's a tag on it. It knows you. Yeah, come on. Indeed. Oh god. It's how convincing. Oh god. No, she's gonna be so like God, I feel so bad for her. Taking a hint, huh? Well, like, what do you think? Like, she blames herself so much for it. Yeah, please. Oh, well, oh god. What does she think? Oh god. Oh god. Okay. It's just I don't. Oh god. It's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. I just feel so bad for Yui because she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong at all. Oh god. Hmm. Okay. Because it's Hachiman. It's Hachiman who needs to say something to her, right? He won't though. But oh god. No, no, no. Uh-uh. Well, yeah, about oh god. No, we're here to talk about like the club, not like stop. Oh my god. Oh my god. Done anything at all. Sure, yeah, like a birthday. I mean, she still doesn't know what we're talking about, but uh-huh, uh-huh. Hachiman, can you save the day, please? Please, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god. That yeah, like that guy over there. Literally. It's so mean. And you are one to talk. Of course he would, right? Hmm. What if it's not even her birthday? What if Yukino was wrong about it being her birthday? Oh no. She never actually asked her. But it can be a I don't know, a party of her coming back to the club. But it was the Hachiman who knew that you would like that, right? Come on. Ooh, what did he get her, I wonder? Yeah. Okay. Call it even. Uh, I guess. That's still not a good way to think about it, I think. Yeah, but she wasn't thinking of it in that way, right? And it's sad that you assume she must have been. But that no, like that's not how things are gonna go. Not at all. No. No. It's literally, right? But he thinks in order for someone to want to hang out with someone like him, right? That's how it must be, you know. Hmm. It should be, but it's not. It never is. Yeah, yeah. Even though he did. Hmm. Interesting. Sure, sure. I suppose. The dog? It's all the dog's fault? Sure, sure. Interesting. Hmm. They can be friends free of this baggage that Hachiman kind of just imagines, but sure, sure. I understand it. I understand it. Oh, she tactfully leaves? Right, right. Thank you, thank you. Yes, please do, please do. Okay. Oh, God. You just opened and put it on. Like, come on. Okay, okay. They're back. They're back, right? And that's what really matters. Obviously, it's not like we were going to solve everything by the way Hachiman views relationships in this episode, right? Of course, of course. Ah, but I guess the important thing is... Hmm. Interesting. His and her beginning finally comes to an end. Interesting. This feels like Hachiman himself at the end there. Thinking about Yuki now, and what she said, right? About, like, relationships not being over, like, starting them fresh, basically. I wonder, like, what's going through his head there, right? As he thinks about what she said. See something about her? What that means for her? I wonder. I wonder. Hmm. That was a good episode. That was a good episode. Might have been my favorite episode so far, but hard to say. Hmm. I love Yui so much. Oh my god. I love her so much. I feel so bad for her, right? The way God, the way she was thinking that she needs to be the one to go like talk to them and get it all figured out. I just she like it's an admirable way to think. Like I relate to that so much, right? That like, yeah, she hates that feeling, right, of having like this unresolved thing. But and I guess you shouldn't just rely on the other person to come talk to you. But like that's what Hachimon's doing. Hachiman would just cut her off forever and never speak to her ever again, right? Like I just, oh god. Okay, we'll talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. Yeah, I think this was my favorite episode so far. I liked this episode a lot. God, I just feel so bad for Yui. Isn't that just me? I it's just this. Honestly, it's just this one scene where before her dog gets away, where she's thinking here, right? She thinks this really can't go on. I need to talk things out. I haven't even given him the cookies. Um, it makes me feel so bad for her because it just isn't her fault, right? It's such a relatable thing for me, but like personally, I guess maybe that's why I feel so strongly about it. Of whenever there's like a fight between me and like my friends or something, right? Like some kind of disagreement, anything, right? That like makes things weird and awkward, whatever. I am always the person, like probably before the other person even has an opportunity to, because I always do. I'm always the person who tries to like resolve it. I always go and try and like, I try and like fix it, right? So that horrible feeling like goes away, right? Um, I always put like that weight on my shoulders. The idea that I should always be the one to go do something to resolve this kind of thing, you know? And I just feel so bad seeing Yui do this when it's just so obvious. Like from an outside perspective, it's so obvious that right now that this is not Yui's fault. She didn't do anything wrong, right? Like not at all. It's entirely just how Hachiman is reacting to this, the way Hachiman views the relationship, all of this stuff, you know? Um, I mean, obviously, I guess it's like Yui values her relationship with Hachiman. She cares about him. And if Hachiman has his way, yeah, he's just gonna keep her like cut off forever, right? Like like he says, like now that this is over, we're back to how we started, and we can live our own lives again. There's never a reset button on life, but at least gonna reset your relationships. I just think that is such a bad way to think about it. I think that is such a bad way to think about it. With what Hachiman has done here, at least, right? Because what does he think is going to happen? That's like what? Just I don't see any outcome to the way that Hachiman is engaging with this other than him and Yui never speak to each other ever again, right? Because he's never gonna like try and mend this between them, right? He thinks this is necessary for their relationship, right? He thinks that if they want to like actually be friends, right? It can't come about in the way that their relationship did, right? With him having saved her dog and him then thinking that she only approached him or cared about him at all because of that and all of that. Uh, but the problem is that's just how it works, right? That's just how it works. And now he's just all he's done, all he's achieved is cutting her off, right? Like him saying here, I haven't been in touch with any of my classmates from middle school. Wait, that wasn't a reset, but a deletion. It makes a stupid face and says tee hee. That's how that's always going to work, right? Like, unless it is someone like Yui, someone like Yui, who goes out on such a limb, who thinks of herself in this way, goes out on such a limb to think that she needs to be the one to go, and like mend this between them. All this is going to do is just be cutting off the people in Hachiman's life forever, right? It's just the more I think about it, the more I just hate it. I just hate that Hachiman thinks of it in this way, right? Like, but I guess that's part of the point, right? The way Hachiman views relationships is a so like he thinks of like friendships, relationships, just in general, right? Any connection with another person, right? He actually has like such a high like opinion of it, right? He thinks relationships are like a really important thing, right? So therefore he wants to make sure that those relationships aren't like founded on like faulty like nonsense, I guess, right? Aren't like, the foundation of them isn't like something like, oh, Yui just feels bad for me and wants to repay me for saving her dog. So I'm doing this horrible thing to her by allowing her to do that, right? No, he wants relationships to be like real and meaningful and like sincere and like and in the way that he imagines that must be is that yeah, it can't come from any place like, oh, I saved her dog, so therefore she wants to be my friend because of that as like repayment, right? So it all comes from that place for him of like, relationships are actually very important, despite the way he like talks about them. He just thinks most relationships like don't. reach that bar, right? So that's why he's so scornful. That's why he acts like this about like, oh, like Hayama's friend group, like Yumiko, her friend group, all of that, right? That's why he's so scornful. That's why he says all those stupid things, because there's so few relationships in life from his perspective that actually reach that bar of like being real, you know? And it's just the problem is it's just I just think it's like unrealistic. I don't think that's I think he has such a as he was accusing like I Yukino's sister of, he has like this idealized view, right, of what a relationship has to be. And I just think it's entirely unrealistic. And it just doesn't work like that, right? It just doesn't work like that. But it comes for him, as we see in like this opening monologue, right? As he says, God, this is so like awkward. She just their lockers are right next to each other's. He just stares at her and then he thinks, "Ah, yeah, that was totally cool of me. Our relationship's gone back to square one." God, by resetting our relationship, I finally regained my peace of mind, and having been freed from her guilt, Yumigahama can go back to her original fulfilling life, right? It all comes from like this actually very sympathetic, like empathetic place for him, for like other people. He thinks being in a friendship is taking on like this burden, is taking on like this, that being involved with another person in any way like that, you're taking on some amount of like some burden, some weight through that. And he doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want to like force that upon Yui. That's what he imagines he's doing to her through having saved her dog and then allowing her to get close to him. You know. So yeah, he wants to reset it. He wants it to be founded on like these real like sincere principles. The problem is it's just going to lead him to always thinking like this, right? It's going to lead him to always thinking that all of his relationships like don't count and aren't real, right? Like his relationship with Yukino, right? He could totally come up with a way to twist that just like this, just like his relationship with Yui, and twist it and think that it's just nonsense, and just, that the only reason Yukino hangs out with him at all is because he was forced into this club, and it's like this duty that she has, like it's all of his relationships in his life. He could think of it like this. It makes me think of his sister again and his relationship with his sister, because he seemingly, at least in my mind, in my read of him, he doesn't think of his relationship with his sister like that at all. Even though I feel like I can take the Hachiman perspective and I can totally warp it in that way. I could totally think like, oh, she's my sister, so she's forced to like be in the same house as me and all of this, right? So she only cares about me in any way and has any connection to me because of like these natural circumstances that are out of her control. So therefore I should cut her off forever, right? But he doesn't think that. He doesn't think that, right? The episode where she was introduced, it's like he thinks of it as just the way that kind of relationship works, I guess, right? That naturally, by virtue of being family, you have to have this relationship with them, and that's just how it works, right? Even though that too, I think that is also a dangerous way to think about it, because if you don't make an active effort to have a relationship with family members, you still won't. It's not like that comes with no effort on your side at all. And Hachiman does. Hachiman actually does put in effort with his sister, right? Which is so interesting. He actually does like have a relationship with her and doesn't just act like a loser and like cut her off, right? So he's willing to take on that burden in his mind of this relationship in that way, and have that burden in his mind on her as well, right? Through this mutual relationship that they have. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Pretty sure I didn't make the wrong choice. No, I did the right thing. Now that this is over, we're back to how we started again and can live our own lives again. Yeah, yeah. Live our own lives again. Not be like God, she glances at him. Not be like controlled by another person in that way. That's how he thinks of it, I suppose, right? He thinks he's like controlling her in some sense. There's no reset button on life, there sure isn't, but you can at least reset your relationships. I just don't. Unless I'm just reading this in the wrong way entirely, I just don't think this is a good way to think about it at all. I don't think you can reset your relationships in any way other than like what he says here, that just leads to, yeah, just a deletion, right? It's like, unless the other person is someone like Yui, who will go that extra mile to try and repair things between you, all it will do, like most of the time, is just result in you cutting the other person off forever, right? Like, it's why like people who like test you in relationships, right? Who like they like want to see like how much you care about them, so they like cut you off and they like act crazy or something, right? I hope you understand what I mean, right? And they want to see that if you will go the extra mile to try and like reform the relationship, right? And if you don't, then they take that as evidence of you not really caring about them or something, right? Um, it's like what Hachiman is doing here. He's not doing that, right? He's not trying to test you in that way. But it will only be people like that. It will only be people who would go back to the other person and try and repair things in that sense, even though they aren't at fault, who this would like work on in any way. You know what I mean? This idea of resetting, right? If anything, there's more of a burden he is putting on her by acting like this than he ever was through their friendship, right? Like look at how unhappy she is in this episode. How much she's worrying about it. It's like I can totally put myself in her shoes, right? Like it's dominating her thoughts all the time. She's just thinking about how much it makes her unhappy, right? Oh God, he's so stupid. Sorry, I don't want to hate on Hachiman too much because I understand him. I understand him completely. I understand him too much, right? I feel like that's my problem. That's my problem with him. That's why I always. But the show paints him out like that too, right? The show openly paints him as like this. So you can't be mad at me for calling him stupid all the time, right? Like, come on. God, I wonder who put these stickers up here. Was it Yui? I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Were they there before Yui showed up? I just don't even remember. God. You obviously can tell something happened, right? Because Yui isn't showing up. You can only have a fight if you're close enough to someone in the first place. I just like such a he wants to reject that he was ever close to her at all, right? Obviously, of course he does, right? Like it's easier, of course, for him to deal with this kind of thing if he just says, "Oh, I was never even that close to her anyway." It's easier to distance himself. It prevents him from getting hurt. It prevents him from from caring about it, right? And with caring about it, that leads to like hurt and pain, right? The same emotional hurt and pain that he's felt in the past. All of those flashbacks we've seen with him that have led to him being the way he is now, right? Yeah, he's so, like, withdrawn, or he wants to tell himself he's withdrawn, even though it's, like, through this episode, we see that he does know Yui, and he does care about her in a lot of ways, even if he says he doesn't, you know? Like, it all comes from a place of caring about her, that's the crazy thing, right? It all comes from a place of caring about other people and what he's, like, doing to them by having a relationship with them, right? A battle, an all-out war. Exactly, exactly. I guess it's a disagreement. I don't know. What would you even call it? What would you even call it, right? I don't know. I don't know. A disagreement sounds too, like, logical. Because I don't think it's. What would I even call it? I just don't know. I just don't know. It is an emotional insecurity that Hachiman has that Yui is unequipped to deal with and isn't her fault, but it's also not Hachiman's fault because, like, he doesn't it's not his fault that he is like emotionally traumatized like this, right? So, like I keep saying it's not Yui's fault at all, but it's not like I'm like blaming Hachiman for like the way he feels. He can't really like control it, right? If he feels like their relationship is, if he feels like this, he has like this emotional response to the idea of their relationship being founded on like these things that he thinks makes it like illegitimate and like not count and all of this, right? He feels like this empathy for what he imagines he's like put Yui through this. It's not his fault that he feels like that, of course, right? I don't know. I guess it's the realization that he, through acting like this, is actually just making it worse for Yui, right? And the fact that he doesn't realize that. That's what makes me like mad, I guess, right? But like, not mad at him, I guess, right? Oops. So Hiratsuka is here. Let's turn that battle YouTuber having into a battle royale. Her attitude is interesting. I don't know what to think about it, right? It's like she wants to give up on Yui almost right away, but I can't tell if that's really how she feels about it or not? Hmm. Because, yeah, she kind of just says, like, yeah, we just, no point dealing with unmotivated people once they're past compulsory education. They can just drop out themselves. God, we get all this focus on this book in this episode. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to think. It has a cat on it. Yuki likes cats. She doesn't like dogs. Good to know. I have neither the will nor the drive, so can I leave? I no. God, Hachiman needs someone like her so badly. Yuigahama showed us that there's a correlation between club activity and membership count. You have until Monday to get at least one new member. Get someone who's got the will and the drive. And of course, that will be Yui. Yet again, we will just get her back, right? Yeah, all we need to do is replenish our ranks, of course, of course. And Yukino goes to such... Okay, God, it's so hard to talk about Yukino. It's always so hard to talk about Yukino, because so much about her, I guess in my mind, is, like, unclear. Like, kinda. I guess my general read of Yukino so far, right, is she puts on, like, this facade, I guess, in a way, right? It's similar to, like, um, what Hachiman says about her sister, but, like, it's different, right? Maybe it's not a facade, it's like a mask, I guess, right? Where she acts in this way that, like, other people, like, have these preconceptions about the way that she should act, and so she acts like that, I suppose, right? She's worried about, like, her reputation and all of these things, right? The way that other people perceive her, like, so much, right? Um, she is the one who, of course, fights to get Yui back, like, really, right? Like, her friendship with Yui is very, like, meaningful, right? It's kind of like, we've seen all those moments of, Yui is someone who's kind of getting Yukino, like, out of her shell in a way, right? Getting her, like, connected with someone, right? Because Yukino is, like, so resistant to forming, like, friendships and relationships because of all of those ideas that she has in her head about the other person's, like, intentions, the other person's, like, preconceptions of her. She's so afraid to show, like, real parts of herself, right? And like, be like sincere in that way, you know? Hmm. It's like how Hachiman. I mean, my mind immediately went to Totsuka too, right? But I like how he immediately thinks of that as well. Need to get her to join again. Of course, of course. Well, she come back that easily. Normally, once you go, you stay gone. Typo in the subtitles. Such a thing for Hachiman to say. It shows that he is well aware of, like, what he's doing, right? What, like, cutting people off like this does. People just stay gone. But I guess he takes that as a sign. He takes that as a sign that their relationship wasn't meaningful in the first place, right? If the person stays gone. Hachiman is almost like doing the testing thing here, right? Even if he isn't thinking of it like that and doesn't realize it, right? He kind of is, but he's not like he's testing the relationship itself, I suppose, right? He thinks that if Yubi doesn't stay gone, and if she but how would that even work? How would that even happen, right? It would be impossible. No matter what, if Yui decided to be his friend again, he would always just go back to this idea that she's only doing it because he helped her dog, right? Unless, as it happened in this episode, he makes them even somehow, you know? So of course she's gonna stay gone. You're gonna make sure she stays gone, right? June 18th. Do you know what day that is? I hope they were right that it was her birthday, by the way. I hope so. She didn't say anything about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, never asked her directly, but that's hard, right? Impressive communication skills as always. Hachiman, like, you're one to talk, right? Like, come on. I mean, and then Yukino says something similar later in the episode, right? I want to celebrate her birthday, regardless of whether she stays in the Volunteers Club. I'd like to thank her for all she's done. So this is interesting. This is interesting to me, right? Um, Yukino saying that even if she's not in the Volunteer Club, that she wants to thank her and have this birthday party and, like, still be connected to her, right? The reason why that's interesting is because what I said earlier about Hachiman and the way that he could easily view his connection to Yukino through this lens of, oh, we only have this connection because of the volunteer club, right? Yukino says here, she is saying here that, yeah, their friendship is, of course, more important than just the volunteer club, right? Like, despite the fact that the volunteer club is what brought them together, she cares about their friendship, like, outside of that, right? Which I think is very important for the way that Hachiman, like, views relationships, right? I think that's a very, like, I don't know, I'm gonna keep that in mind, because I think that is a difference in the way that Yukino views relationships and the way that Hachiman views relationships. And I'm curious, like, how that will pan out in the future, right? Because I'm just thinking about their relationship now, right? Like, Yukino and Hachiman, they aren't friends They are friends. No, I'm here. They are friends. I refuse to accept that they aren't friends. Of course they are. But they aren't friends in the same way as like Yui and Yuki now, right? Yui is obviously she's much more like open about it, right? That's kind of the main difference, right? She calls herself Yukina's friend, right? And yeah. But I just wonder the relationship between them, Hachiman can so easily like corrupt it and twist it and think that like, oh, we aren't actually friends. I only, it's only because of the volunteer club. I was forced into this volunteer club. There's this burden on you. You have this duty. The same way he was thinking about his relationship with Yui, all of that. Whereas Yukino wouldn't think of it like that, right? Of course not. If she's ever able to like if Yugino and Hachiman are ever able to get past this whole tsundere act on both of their ends, right, then maybe. That is a very interesting thing to think about. The other thing that Yukino says here is, I'd like to thank her for all that she's done. It's very interesting. That's a very interesting thing for her to say. Because it's so easy to interpret that in a similar way to the way that Hachiman thinks of the whole relationship with Yui, right? He thinks of it as like, yeah, things that she's done, this burden that she's taken on herself, and by being friends with him, right? Yukino, I don't think thinks of it like that at all. She better not. We better not have two Hachimans. I don't think she does. I don't think she does. But the fact that she says that she wants to thank her for all she's done, I don't know. That is still an interesting way to think about it, right? I wonder. I don't know. Is she thinking of it in some kind of like vaguely transactional way as well? I just can't decide because it obviously would be easy for Yukino to fall into a similar line of thinking as Hachiman. But I don't know. I don't know. We're never inside Yukino's head. We never really know what she's thinking, right? We just kind of have to make assumptions based off her actions, right? Of course, right? Um, Hmm. I can't decide. I can't decide what she because I want to say that Yukino just has a much more like she is very thankful for Yui and like she's able to form this actual connection with Yui in some way that feels like it's outside of her worries and her idea of what other people must always be looking for in a relationship with her, right? I hope that Yukino is able to view her relationship with Yui like outside of that and view it as like something like real. Well, could you go out with me? This episode is really, man, full of things like that line right there, huh? I love Yukino's hair. Very nice, very cool. Komachi is here, but she immediately abandons us to leave to leave Hachiman and Yukino alone. Of course, they all want to split up entirely immediately. Why did Yukino even say, Hachiman, can you go out with me if they're just going to split up right away, right? Like, she should have just said, Hachiman, can you buy a birthday present for Yui? Why would they even go together, right? Like, did Yukino have the idea that they would go together in the first place? But she just immediately she couldn't summon the willpower to fight for that, so she immediately said, "Oh, I'll go in the opposite direction." Then maybe. Hmm. Judging from my estimation of Yui-san's interests, we should have no problem as long as we cover this area. Of course, of course. So we were at the mall. Komachi disappears entirely. Never imagined my little sister could be this much of an airhead. Yeah, that's totally what's going on here. It literally. She's gonna be another 5 hours. So I'll find my own way home, so good luck. Exactly. God, like what? Is that a Pokemon? Like what am I looking at? I mean, it's just like some like what are these? I don't know. Then we got another like what animal is this even supposed to be? It has really long ears, that's for sure. I don't know. I don't know. Some very cute merch, I suppose. We've been abandoned. Hmm. So off we go. Everyone's very suspicious of Hachiman, of course, because he's wandering around like a loner and being creepy. Are you seriously going to rely on my tastes? I'm not proud of it, but my personal standards are incongruous with those of an average high school girl. That is like a sad thing to say about yourself. I don't think you should say that. And I think also that you also know stuff about Yui, whether you are willing to admit that or not, just like how Hachiman does, right? So I just don't believe you that you don't know anything about Yui and you don't know what she would want, right? But I wonder, right? I just don't believe. Is it true that Yukino's tastes are actually like that at all? Or like, because we had that moment with the cat, right? We had that moment with the cat, right? She was so embarrassed by it, she immediately like didn't want to like have Hachiban say anything about it and all of that, you know? It shows that like these like cutesy little things like that, she tries to push them away, and she doesn't want them to like ruin her image, I guess, right? Or the way that people view her, right? So she sees things like that, things that maybe are in some way like more stereotypical, like things that a high school girl would be interested in. She pushes those things away actively, you know? So I wonder, therefore, if her own personal tastes are actually that different from like someone like Yui's, right? Maybe, right? Who knows? It's an interesting question. I've presented my love to girls and gotten shot down, but I've never actually bought a present. The difference here, Hachiman, the difference here is that you actually know Yui. You're actually like friends with her. You know things about her. He's the one who picks out the present that Yukino gets for her, right? Like he knows what she would like, of course, even though it's just something simple. It's just something basic, right? God, if the only thing you can do is breathe in air and spit it out, then even some random AC unit's better than you. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it'd be super useful if it also had a function to read the atmosphere. Like what? God. And we do all this whole boyfriend thing. Oh god. Her boyfriend's the last thing I want to be, but Yukinoshita doesn't lie. She said pretend, so that's what we'll be doing. There's nothing to misunderstand here. I don't know. I wonder. Like Yukino is so taken off guard by it. I wonder. I wonder how she actually feels, right? I have no reason to believe that my reputation could be damaged through a misunderstanding. Very right, like her. It's such a telling line in a way, right? She is worried about her reputation. She is worried about it, right? And it's like her whole thing, right? Is the way that other people perceive her, and like her wanting to like live up to those expectations. It feels like, you know, and her feeling like and also it's like she has this specific personality too, because there's almost like it pushes people away, right? It keeps people away from her. Um, for such a it's such a similar thing. It's such a similar thing to the way Hachiman engages with relationships, right? He doesn't want his relationship with Yui to be founded on like these false premises, these false like preconceptions that he imagines that she has in her mind. And it's just like that with Yukino too. It's just like that with Yukino, how like her relationship with anyone in her life, she has all of these things that other people automatically assume about her and think about her and have heard about her. Um, so it's so hard for her to form a relationship where she thinks isn't like hampered down by all of those like things, you know. God, so here's Yui at a like pet grooming place. Oh, I feel so bad for her. I feel so bad for her. God, she keeps letting her dog get away. How did this even happen? How did her dog get off the leash? It just magically did? Like, I don't know. I don't know. God, girl, you really got to work on this. If you keep bringing up stuff like the durability of the clothes, we're never going to decide on anything. I doubt Yui cares how high her clothes defense is anyway. Like Yukino is over here stretching the clothes and like, God, she really is helpless, huh? I guess I had no idea what Yuigahama-san liked or what she was interested in. I just that's such a sad thing for her to say, for her to think that she doesn't know. I wonder, Yukino, is so concerned, um, rightfully so, very understandably so, I suppose, by what other people like think about her and what other people assume she must be like, and their preconceptions of her as a person, right, and all of that. So I wonder if she really gets in her own head about what other people are really like and what they like are like and what they are interested in and that kind of thing, right? I wonder if it's hard for her to like um form those ideas of like what Yui Gahama like cares about and what she's interested in, because she's so worried about like doing the same thing that she feels like other people do with her all the time, right? Like those you know, assuming all of these things about her, right? Seeing like this image that she presents herself, I suppose now, but it's so formed by like her just her position like socially, right? Maybe, right? Maybe. Nothing wrong with that. I'd be more pissed if someone thought they did understand just from hearing some tidbits. That God, it's such a telling line from Hachiman. It's such a telling line from Hachiman where he is his scorn is so extreme for like these like fake relationships, right? Like this idea of someone like thinking that they know you when they really don't, right? It's the same reason why, yeah, his relationship with Yui has like fallen apart now, right? Where it's so God, he actually it comes from this place of like actually wanting he wants so badly like an actual real connection. It's just his bar of what a real connection is so man, I understand it so much. I understand it so much, right? He basically he wants so badly to not do what he sees like Yukino's sister in this episode doing, for example, right? He thinks Yukino's sister, it's yet to be seen, I suppose, right? But he thinks that she puts on this facade of being like this ideal and all of this, right? So therefore, it's like all these people just have this relationship with that ideal facade version of her and not the real her, right? And that's what he wants. He wants people to have a relationship with like the real him, right? He'd be pissed if people think they understand him when they really don't. You know, it's like makes a mockery of it from his perspective of what should actually be like an important real relationship, you know? It's somewhat like sending a resident of Chiba peanuts from somewhere else. I guess. Your example is too Chiba for me to understand. Me too. We brought up the Chiba peanuts a few times there. I mean, it's like getting all cocky and sending wine to a sommelier. Interesting. I suppose. Does she get it? I guess. What does she take from that, though? I just don't know. I just don't. I think that's such a it's so interesting because Hachiman kind of does it, right? Hachiman kind of does that same thing here, where he presents Yui with something that he thinks she likes. So why from his perspective is that okay, right? Is it just because his read of Yui isn't that she's faking that? He just thinks, oh, what I know about Yui, her liking cutesy things like this, is actually real, and so that counts. I can buy her a present that lines up with that. But why then does he think? Why does he think that for Yukino that's not okay? Why does he think, as he says, that he'd be pissed off if someone thought that they knew him based off these little tidbits, right? That's basically what he's saying about Yui and Yukino. So why is it okay for him, right? Why is it okay for him? Why does he think it's fine for him to pick out like this cutesy apron for her? I don't know. I don't know. Wouldn't Yuigahama like something more colorful, fluffy, and dumb looking? Exactly, right? Like, why is that? Why is that fine? I like how she buys that one too, because like Hachiman said it was cute. So here is Yukino's sister. We got mention of it in the last episode, right? Or we got some ideas of Yukino having a sibling. So she has a sister, Haruno, which they're very different. They're very different. Yukino, I can't help but wonder if Yukino's personality is how much it is shaped by however she feels about her sister. It feels like she has some amount of like an inferiority complex, some amount of like she feels like her sister is like better than her. Like they're different. They're so different. I wonder where that insecurity really comes from, right? Does Yukino feel like she should be able to act more like her sister? Does Yukino feel like I don't know. There's so many places it can come from, right? So many places it can come from because it's just immediate like her body language she's so like uncomfortable I just can't imagine how she feels having like Hachiman interact with her and having all this. Like is the radically different way that she acts, is that on purpose to make herself be so defined in comparison to her sister, right? Like maybe, right? Maybe. Ikigaya-kun, huh? Interesting. She really she pondered over that name for a moment. I wonder, like, has Yukino talked to her about it before? What is their relationship actually like? How close is Yukino and Haruno's relationship? God, she's so uncomfortable. If you make Yukino-chan cry, I won't let you get away with it. Ow, you're way too close. I don't think that hurts, Hachiman. If that hurts, there's something wrong with you. But I don't know. I guess it hurts him emotionally. I don't know. I don't know. Cut that out. I got a bit too carried away. She seems so, I don't know, Haruno does seem, I don't know. Like my immediate read of the relationship, It's interesting, right? I feel like it's something that's, hmm, Yukino feels like she has all of these. She compares herself to her sister. That's definitely what it feels like, right? Haruno, it feels like she doesn't view it like that at all, right? Just based off this one tiny reaction, the way that she reacts to Yukino just saying, "I stop," right? I don't know. Yukino-chan's a delicate gal, so you've got to look out for her, okay? I suppose. Did I do something to make you hate me? God, right? Like that's a such a she goes so far right away, right? Hmm. I don't know. Yukino wants to split them up right away, of course, right? I imagine she feels insecure about Harino like interacting with Hachiman, and I can really I can understand all of that, right? Hmm. Your sister's amazing. Everyone says that about her. Well, I suppose it'd be hard to find anyone as perfect as she is, right? It's like, yeah, it's this insecurity about it, but it's so interesting because so much of Yukino's insecurities, at least from my perspective so far, come from people's preconceptions about her, right? The things that people assume about her because of her position, because of her family, because of because of how good she is at school and all of her grades and all of this, right? But so much it comes from like the way that she does act already, right? It's really it's like this it's like an Ouroboros, right? The way that she acts feeds that idea that people have about her, and then that makes her want to act more like the way that she acts, right? So she sees Haruno, who acts so differently from Yukino, who acts so like outgoing, so all of this, Um, and how does she feel? She feels inferior about it. Every single person showers her with praise. You're not much different yourself. What's with your humble bragging? What I'm calling amazing is that thick outer facade of hers. She's sociable, she has a smile on her face the entire time and talks to you nicely. She's truly what most guys would consider an ideal woman. But ideals are ideals. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about this, about Hachiman's read of her. Of course he would assume that that's what she's doing. Of course he would assume that it must be a facade and that it's fake and that it's not real, right? But that doesn't mean it is, right? Just because, from Hachiman's perspective, she seems like the ideal, that doesn't mean that she is, like, faking it and that it's a facade, right? That could be her genuine, real personality and that she's just like that, right? Of course it could be, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's it at all, right? I guess it's a nice thing to think. I think it would be comforting to Yukino, the idea that just like how Yukino has this mask, has her own facade, right? That her sister does too, the person that she seems like envious of, that she has like this inferiority complex about. That for her, that it's not like, that it's a facade as well, right? But I don't know if it really is. I think everyone has a facade in some sense. Everyone does in some way, right? That is something that Yukino has to understand. And that's something that Hachiman has to understand, right? Hachiman's whole thing about how he wants relationships to be like so real and so like, I like his fantasy idea of them. I think a large part of that is that idea that he doesn't want other people to be putting on a facade. I just think everyone does. Everyone does to some degree, right? That doesn't mean that Haruno is completely fake. That doesn't mean that her attitude is an entirely just a thick mask, a thick outer facade, right? But it's just the fact that Hachiman assumes that because she's like that, that it must not be reality, right? I don't know. I don't know. Because you have rotten eyes that you can see through some things. But I think it makes sense that Yukino would want to agree with him, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Yukino's scared of dogs. Good to know. Of course, the dog loves you. God. Sable, that's its name. Right, right. And God, we have this horrible, immediate misunderstanding of Yui thinking that they must be dating. It's like God, it's so sad, right? Um, she does this. She always does this. It feels like, right? Like it makes me think of of her interactions with like Yumiko and that friend group and all of that. She always seems so she feels like she's like what like disposable, that she's like not important in relationships, I guess, that she feels like she's I guess that's just the vibe, right? Yeah, that she feels like it should have been obvious. Yeah, taking a hint is supposed to be the only thing she's good at, she has such like a low self-esteem and such a low like feeling of herself in relationships in that way, right? I guess that probably feeds into the way Hachiman views his relationship with her too, because she totally would be the kind of person who would like act like that, right? Like who would allow themselves to stay in like a weird, awkward relationship, friendship like that, you know? Who would maybe feel like that kind of responsibility to Hachiman, right? But she doesn't. But she doesn't at all, right? It's just so I don't know. I don't know. God, I hate this episode and what we do about this whole like her thinking they're dating. Like, oh God, it's so embarrassing. Man, God, the air felt really nice or something. Oh God, it just makes me the way she acts so bubbly, the way she acts so it's like it really is. It's almost like she does in a way put on all of this weight on her shoulders, right? It's like what Hachiman imagines about like having like put this weight on her, this burden on her to have this relationship with him because she like feels like she owes him, right? It's so frustrating because he's actually doing that to her by the way he's acting right now, right? Like it's so God, it annoys me so much. It makes me so sad. It makes me feel so bad for her. Hmm. We're here to talk about you and Hiki, aren't we? So okay, this book thing, right? Yui also has this book. Um, it's a different one from the one that Yukino was reading. I guess I just don't understand this connection between these books. I don't understand the connection between these books, right? Because this one's a different color than the one that Yukino was reading earlier in the episode, right? Or they Yukino and Yui reading the same book series? Like, it's I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, it's so embarrassing. Now I realize I should be celebrating or something, but like God, and Yukino just doesn't get it. Thank God Hachiman saves the day by, like, by saying this. I have the strange feeling they're not talking about the same thing. Yeah, yeah. Like, thank God he explains it. Jesus. Even I have things that piss me off. That guy over there couldn't possibly be in a relationship. Don't say that. God, he can't even handle normal relationships. I'm not interested in that stuff. If someone called me while crying in the dead of night, I'm confident I'd break up with them right then and there. I just, that's such a, God, that's crazy. That's crazy, right? Like and the reason why he says that is because if someone called him crying in the dead of night, right, he would view that as, like, what, him causing them some kind of pain, him being some kind of burden on them, right? He must be if he's causing like this distress in them. So of course he'd break up with them. Of course he would, right? Because he would blame himself for it, right? He would view it in that same way he's viewing this friendship with Yui, right? Even baked a cake and everything for your birthday. God, except it might not even be your birthday. Who knows? I wanted to thank you for what you did while you were here. Call this some kind of token of gratitude. Hachiman got her a present too, of course. Things have been awkward between us since that day and all. My bad. I didn't get this for you just because it's your birthday. How should I put this? Let's call it even with this. Me saving your dog, and you going out of your way for me. Really, this is just the thing for Hachiman, right? Really, this is just the thing for Hachiman. And for him to be able to view their relationship as, like, not, like, all tied up with all of this imagined, like, burden thing on both ends, you know? Um, this idea that they just need to be even, right? Because Yui never thought of it like that. Yeah, yeah. Like, if anything, it's like that ruins the point of the present almost, right? Like that makes it so impossible to engage with the relationship in like this normal, like real way on both ends, right? If Hachiman always views it in like this transactional way, you know? Oh, God. I want to at least repay you for looking out for me. So now it's plus minus 0. We're even. You don't need to concern yourself with me anymore. Let's end things here. God, it's so, yeah, why, right? But I understand. I get it, right? I get it. But yeah, Yui never viewed it that way at all. But yeah, it's just become so... And it should be simpler. It should be simpler than this, right? It can be, but it also never is, right? Hikigai-kun doesn't think he ever helped you out. He did. What he doesn't want is for her to feel pity, for her to feel like that she has to pay him back, right? That's why he denies the idea of having helped her out, right? Yeah, because that would make it like not a real relationship in his mind, right? Hikigai's choice to end things here is the right one. If it ends, you can just start all over again. Neither of you are at fault after all. One of you saved the other, but in reality, you were both victims. Then you should put all the blame on the instigator. I thought we should blame the dog, but I guess there's no instigator at all, right? You can make a fresh start. The two of you can. I suppose. I just don't. I just think it's still like a. I guess it's a good way to think about it that at least gets them like to just be friends again, which is the important part, right? But obviously, it's not like this solves everything for Hachiban, right? I guess that's an impossible wish, right? So at least what Yukino says here, like yeah, it gets us past all of that, and they can just be friends again, which is like the important thing, right? I suppose. Yukino leaves them alone, of course. He got her a dog collar, which she puts on. God. uh, I mean, I'm happy. I'm glad it all ended up okay. I'm glad it all ended up okay. So yeah, there's these two books, right, that they were reading, and he looks at it and thinks about it. I don't know. He thinks about what Yukino said. I don't know. I can't tell what he's thinking in this moment. I can't tell what he's thinking about Yukino and about relationships and all of that, right? I don't know. I can't tell. I'm not sure. Maybe the answer to those questions will be in the next episode, because I suppose that is it for this one. So, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.